Hey guys, so I thought that I would do somewhat of a stormy sea today. Just feeling like doing something very spontaneous and loose. I just finished a painting for a contest on Appalachian agriculture, and it required lots of detail. So I thought it would be nice just to kind of get back to basics with this hockey brush. It's a Ron Ransom hockey brush, and it has a nice sharp edge to it, so you can do trees if you want to with that sharp edge. You can kind of mess it up a little bit like this to do leaves for trees. It's just a nice multi-purpose brush. And the colors I'm going to be using today are a variety of colors. I'm going to use, yellow ochre. I'm going to use Payne's gray, cobalt blue, a burnt umber, a raw sienna. In that kind of range there. This is what my palette looks like right now after working on the previous painting. So I'm going to use what's on here. I just suggested some colors, but you use what you feel best. I'm using these homemade watercolors, but this is a raw, or a yellow ochre, So this is weird using this big brush on this little square here. So I'm going to put my light source in. I've wet my paper. This is Arches 140 pound cold press watercolor paper. And then I am going to just dip my brush into all of these colors and get kind of crazy here. I know, wild and crazy. And we're gonna see what takes shape. And this is great to do when you're feeling a bit uninspired, but you want to just create a little something. So I'm gonna go a little bit crazy. Are you sure you're ready for this? And when I do this, I like to see what starts to take shape. Kind of following the watercolor's lead here, if that makes sense. I didn't put tape around my paper, didn't feel like it. I'm gonna take some Payne's gray. I do like to do that Payne's gray for the edges. And I think I also have on here, no, that's Payne's gray. I like how this is kind of blooming a bit here. So I'm gonna tilt it up, let the paint kind of move around. Add a little bit more green, more brown, because I'm seeing some green in here, which, when I'm painting this in this style, it doesn't matter, even though we know that skies aren't green. This is abstract. We always think of stormy skies as black and gray, but there is some brown in there. Oops. So yeah, I just messed up. So guess what? This is going to be some sort of little bush. As Bob Ross always said, happy little accidents, right? Okay, so where are we going? Ooh, that was pretty. I like to be able to get multiple colors on this brush. It is just so cool. You just don't know what's gonna show up here on the paper, and I like that. Payne's gray. And then I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm trying to determine what I see in this abstract piece here. Do I see water? I think I do. And I think I'm gonna go for some sort of a stormy sea. So I'm gonna wet my hake brush and I'm gonna get that nice sharp edge. And I'm gonna go in with some cobalt blue, a little Payne's gray, and I'm gonna put in some waves, smaller. As I go back into the distance. And then kind of drop a little of that darker here into the foreground. I want to leave some of the paper the way it is for that negative space for the white caps maybe in the ocean. And I think I'm going to extend it a little bit because the ocean is, the clouds are reflecting on the ocean. So I have a little indigo here, a little Payne's gray. I'm going to go over that cobalt, and now the sky and the sea are matched in their intensity. I'm liking the way this is looking, so I'm going to let this dry and I'll be back. The last time I used some toilet paper to go in and put some clouds in. Today I'm going to use a brush, and I have clean water here, and I dip my brush in. I'm going to remove the excess water. This is a very clean brush, and I'm just going to lightly brush in some clouds. And I might use the toilet paper too if I want to. In this case, it's a paper towel today, but I don't want to overdo it with the clouds. I just want to kind of break it up a little bit. I'm going to remove a little bit of that because I don't want to take away from the natural clouds that have already formed from the watercolor just flowing on its own. But maybe this is just a little extra spot here. And I'm going to leave it. I don't want to do too much. Now, here in the foreground at the bottom, let's see if you can see it. I'm going to wet it, but sporadically. I don't want this whole area wet. And I'm going to put in maybe the suggestion of maybe some sand or some sort of land. So I am using burnt umber and raw umber here, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre. And I think I might want to put a little surprise pop of some sort of a red. Doesn't matter what, or purple, I don't know. Being that this is abstract, it's fine. I always like to drop in something unexpected here. I love browns and these blues. And let me pull a little bit of this out for some sea foam. Not much. It's really easy to overdo it when it comes to removing paint. Here's the white from the paper here, so I don't need to do anything there. There. I don't want to do too much. And I think that's perfect. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to soften some of these edges here. So I've shared what colors I was going to use, but I ended up just going and grabbing some random colors that just appealed to me. There's really no right or wrong. This is all experimentation. This could be a night scene here with the moon coming through and a cloud just kind of drifting over the moon. And I kind of like that idea. And I kind of like that. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to mess with it. I lied. Okay, now I'm not. So I feel like now that it's drying, I like this effect right here. That does look like maybe the suggestion of sea foam, so I'm going to keep that. And I'm going to add a little bit more of this burnt umber. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to do some splatters. So I'm going to take that burnt umber and splatter on the beach. Yeah, a little bit's getting in the water. That's okay. Same with a little bit of yellow ochre on the bottom. I'm going to splatter some of that. Can't really see too great. Try to be more careful this time. And I'm going to take a Payne's Gray. I think down here I'm going to do a little piece of land and then put in some sort of tree or dead branch or just a little something to kind of break it up. I'm going to go back to my Hake brush. Put in that Payne's Gray and the burnt umber and a little blue. I'm just going to dip it in a few different colors. At this point, I'm playing and we'll see what happens. kind of pushing the brush up a little bit as I just tap down. And that yellow ochre. Sort of vegetation here. I'm gonna squish my brush, just kind of really rat it up a little bit here. I don't know the proper term, but, and then I'm gonna dip into just random colors here and see what happens. And you can take an old card, a store card, or I don't know, any kind of card, and you can scrape in some rocks. I'm going to use this tool that I have that has a rubber end, has two different rubber ends, and I'm going to use this one. But I'm telling you, I actually like the way a card works better for this. This is just what I have right here. So if you have an old store card, I would use that. That's fine. And I'm just gonna scrape in some rocks. I'm gonna pull out some, I don't know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, something and nothing, right? And let's get another rock here. See, I'm telling you, I like the way the store card works more. You have to do this pretty quick, but you don't want to start right after you put the paint on. You want to let it sit just for a minute. We have a nice little area here that is just perfect for some sort of a tree, a dead tree, or I don't know. I'm going to do a tree. And I'm going to take the brown, a little bit of the paints of gray. It's coming from out of the frame here. So it's just kind of I'm gonna make it a little bit imperfect here. You absolutely do not have to do a tree if you don't want to. I don't know why I feel like I always have to do one, but I do. So that is a little weird, but it's okay. It's just a wind-blown, tired tree here. It has seen better days. It needs to be a little thicker. I'm going to take my tool, or a card if you have one, and I'm just going to kind of scrape into the tree to remove some of that paint and give it a little bit of texture here and some contrast. I'm going to pull out some random little broken pieces of wood or whatever. That's what I like about this. You could just pull the paint out. And there we have it. A very simple painting of a stormy sky and sea. Thanks for watching. See you next time.